think we can get started. I will admit anybody who pops in
Okay, terrific.
last minute, and I'll also keep an eye on the chat if anybody has questions, but I will turn it over to you, Gail.
Terrific, terrific. Welcome, everybody. My name is Gail Cantor, and I am the Director of Spiritual Life at Endicott and the Interfaith Chaplain. And thank you all for being here for our homecoming meditation, Sunday morning meditation. We're going to do a few things this morning. I was thinking the intention is just that you start this morning to take a moment for yourself, a pause to turn inward, to let go of the circumstances and the practicalities of the world for a few moments with everything going on in the world. I think that's always it's a good idea every day to take a little pause, maybe a few times a day to take a pause from everything that's going on and take some time for self-reflection, and to maybe today would support, I don't know if any of you have a regular meditation practice, but maybe this will inspire you to have one. About 100 years ago, a man named Paramahansa Yogananda arrived in the United States and was really instrumental in bringing meditation and yoga to the United States. And he said, by the practice of meditation, you will find that you are carrying within your heart a portable paradise. And I think we don't walk around like we have a portable paradise within us that we can tap into whenever we want to. And if there's anything we could use these days, I think since we can't run to our paradise spots that easily as maybe we used to, it's good to have one with us. So I want to offer you this morning a couple of very simple practices that you might use in your life, especially in these times. Because even though we're forced to slow down, sometimes the mind doesn't get the message slow down. It's there's a lot of chatter, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of worry, if you would, concerns and whatever. So one thing I will say about meditation that people sometimes are not clear about is that a lot of times people think you have to be, and I think a lot of the kids at school avoid meditation because they think we're going to say you have to be very rigid and you have to shut your eyes and you have to, do breathing this way. And it's all very strict. And there are methods of meditation that people practice. My oldest brother is a Zen priest, and I don't like to meditate with him because it's very long and it's very strict, but all meditation is not that strict. The kind of meditation mostly we practice at Endicott starts with being very free, just being very comfortable. You can have your eyes open or closed. If you have them opened, I recommend you look maybe down and focus on something. And it is better if you close them because you kind of go away for a minute, but it's not required. And then in terms of breathing, it's good to allow your breath to just go in and out and not and just allow yourself to have normal breathing. But it doesn't have to be rigid. You don't have to sit all straight and postured and whatever. So and then you don't have to suppress your thinking. A lot of people think the idea of meditation is to get their mind to be completely empty. There is a practice of mindfulness where you want to try to empty your mind and focus and pay complete attention. In meditation, we're almost trying to receive some messages in a way and understand what's going on with us. So it's okay to let the messages come in and out and the thoughts go by. You don't have to suppress your thoughts. One meditation master named Thich Nhat Hanh, he said, let your thoughts come in and float by like they're on a cloud. So I like that idea. You kind of let them be. Don't take them all that seriously. You don't have to pay that much attention, but you can let them float in. We'll start this morning with a short meditation, and I think it's a good one because it lets you disengage a little bit from the hectic world around us. It's called the eye of the hurricane. And so if you just sit comfortably in whatever position is comfortable for you. It's going to be a guided meditation. You don't have to do anything. I'll guide you. You just relax, and um, I'll put a little music on in the background. Here we go with that. Okay. And let's start just by taking a few deep breaths just to get into it. And let your eyes go close on the third breath. So breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. And maybe on the third breath, let your eyes close. And then just let your breathing be natural. And just be aware of yourself sitting here. And while we're here, let's consider a metaphor, the metaphor of a hurricane. And within the strong, turbulent winds of a hurricane, let's consider the eye or the center of the hurricane that's very quiet. There's no wind, there's no movement there in the center. For a moment, just picture this idea in your mind. Visualize the strong, turbulent winds of a hurricane and the inner core that's peaceful and quiet. And some people visualize things in pictures. Some people just get a sense or an idea of it. That's fine too. See if you can become like the center of the hurricane. Your current circumstances, your thoughts, your feelings, the sensations throughout your body, those can all be compared to the winds of a hurricane. Is it possible for you to let go of all of these things for a moment so that you're no longer taking part in them? Like the center of the hurricane is not taking part in the turbulence surrounding winds. To do this, start by focusing on your breath. Simply breathe in and then breathe out. Focus inward. Just like the eye is deep within the hurricane, your eye is deep within you. Use your breath to connect to this part of you. Simply breathe in and breathe out. If anything stressful happens in this moment, such as negative thoughts or unpleasant feelings or annoying sounds or memories of difficult life events, just try to look at them as if they are the turbulent winds of the hurricane, whirling around, continually changing, unpredictable in nature. Notice that you are not them. You are the silent center of the hurricane, the part that is peaceful despite what is happening around you. You are the silent center of the hurricane, peaceful and at ease. You are not reacting, you are simply observing. Like the wind of the hurricane, these experiences are constantly moving and changing. You, on the other hand, are stable. As you sit here connected to your I, notice whatever arises. Notice the wind of the hurricane, but do not participate. Notice thoughts, feelings, notice sensations. Watch from a distance with curiosity, but without judgment, without reacting to what you see. No matter how intense or bad the hurricane gets, the I is always centered, calm and at ease. Even the most turbulent hurricane cannot hurt or harm the I. The I is safe. Whenever you feel you need to restore your inner peace, use your breath to connect to this silent part of yourself. Just breathe in and breathe out. It may help to visualize the hurricane with yourself at the center. At times, it can be difficult to see the eye of the hurricane. And sometimes we forget the eye is there. However, it is always there. Even the darkest, strongest hurricane, even in that darkest, strongest hurricane, we'll see the I centered and constant. So take a moment just to own this experience of the eye of the hurricane. And then whenever you do, maybe start moving your head around a bit or your hands and feet a little bit. And then whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and come back into the Zoom room with us. Okay. was that? That's a good one for these times, yeah? That's one I think we all need. I sometimes remind myself when it starts getting a little windy, shall we say. I think it can get a little windy these days. Yeah. Anybody, anything to share or to ask, or quiet Sunday morning group? Okay, you can use the chat as well if you want. Okay, one more practice I'll give you. This one's my personal favorite. And when we do this at Endicott, I always tell the students that for me, this is a superpower, like a superhero superpower beyond all else. It's probably one of the oldest spiritual practices known to mankind. It's a Buddhist practice. It's called Tonglen, and Tonglen. The Buddhist, you might be familiar, some of you, with a fairly modernly famous Buddhist, I think she's a priest now. She used to be a nun, but her name is Pema Chodron. She's a Buddhist leader, fairly popular person, meditation person. Her name is Pema. But anyway, she wrote a book called Tonglen. And the word Tonglen is a Tibetan word that means receiving and sending. It's kind of a funny word. It means the opposite. It means both things, receiving and sending together. And my brother was telling me that why it is been one of the oldest practices. If a spiritual practice is really old, it's really old because it's really easy. Because difficult practices don't stay around. You know, difficult exercises don't last. Walking is the oldest exercise, right? Because it's easy. Things with hard instructions don't stick around. So this is very easy instruction, which you'll be happy to know. But basically what it is that it's the practice of breathing in. You know, the Buddhists believe that that there's suffering in life, and that the purpose of life is to recognize that in this lifetime, when you're alive, because we're limited and we're embodied, that there's suffering, inevitable suffering, and that our spiritual practice is about letting go of attachment. And when you let go of attachment, you relieve yourself of suffering, and then you can choose right paths, appropriate paths. Anyway, that's a whole other bigger story. So they want to bring compassion into the world to alleviate suffering, which of course we all do in whatever your faith tradition is, or if you don't have a faith tradition, who wouldn't want to alleviate people's suffering and bring compassion into the world? So this is the practice of accepting suffering or understanding suffering, and then sending compassion in the world, and creating that your heart, that you yourself could be a vehicle, a superpower that could transmute or transform suffering into compassion. And so it's the practice of visualizing yourself receiving or breathing. It's a breath work, actually, like breathing in the suffering in the world. So it's like imagining darkness and breathing in darkness, not being afraid to breathe in darkness. Bring it into your heart, and imagining that your heart has the power to transform that darkness into light, and sending the light out into the world where the darkness was. And so it's the practice of replacing the dark with the light, and breathing in the suffering and bringing in the light. And I find it very powerful because it does two things for me. It has me, not avoid the darkness. So a part of me always wants to go hide in the closet when things get bad and say, oh, I don't want to see that things are bad. But, you know, listen, there's a lot of weird things going on in the world. And so it's a little bit better, you know, and people have things going on with them, and we all have to be there for others, and we have to be there for ourselves, and we have to be there for people in our families and people in our lives. And I have to be there for our students. I want to be there. That's my job. That's why I'm there. So we want to be with others when they're struggling. And so, we have to open ourselves up to receive where people are struggling, suffering, whatever, having a hard time. So it makes me remember, no, open yourself up, let yourself be with when somebody's having a hard time, when people are struggling, when people are suffering, let's be available to that. But that's not where it ends. I can open my heart and I have the power to turn it into light and to breathe out compassion. The other thing I like about it is you don't have to tell anybody you're doing it. You can secretly be doing it all day long, and you can just be noticing everybody's suffering, and you can silently be receiving it and sending compassion. And sometimes when I don't know what to do, that's what I'm doing. I'm just practicing Tonglen silently to myself, and saying to myself, okay, I don't know what to do in this situation, but whatever I'm doing, I'm going to breathe it in and breathe it out, and and hope that at least my awareness that I'm not sitting here going along with it. I'm not just acquiescing. I'm not just being a part of the whatever craziness is going on in the world. I'm going to be here and be a consciousness for the good. And so I think it at least raises us up, lifts us up in that way. And whatever that provides in the world, I hope provides something. And I have to trust that's at least a faith I have that it's good to be awake and aware that we have the power to bring compassion into the world, and that's a worthwhile thing to bring our awareness to. And so basically that is the practice. It is the practice of when you practice it as a meditation, you close your eyes and you imagine the suffering, whatever that is. There's people who are suffering because they don't like um, the way people are being treated, or there's people suffering because they can't go to, we're very blessed at Endicott. We're getting to go to work a lot. Molly and I have been to work a lot lately. So we were talking about that before, but there are people that don't, I am grateful. I get to get up every morning and go to my office at Endicott. Today I'm here at my house, but I get to go to work and be with students and go to work. There's a lot of people are not being able to go to work. There's a lot of people that have lost their jobs, a lot of people suffering during this time. There's a lot of, the students are not getting to operate in the way that they want to and be free to just do the college the way that they want to do it. That's the least of it. Let's put it that way. There's a lot going on right now for people in the world, fires and hurricanes and this and that and the other thing. Everybody can make their own list of what bothers them and what they understand is bothering other people. And so if you just stop for a minute in your meditation and visualize whatever you think is dark, and you breathe that in and imagine your heart as almost like a machine that can take dark smoke. I always think of it as smoke. I don't know why. This is one of the Buddhist teachers teaches it as smoke comes in, dark smoke comes in, and then light smoke goes out. And we'll just do it for a couple minutes. Won't do it for a long time, but we'll do a little Tonglen practice this morning just for the sake of it. And then we'll go from there, and we'll end it. When we end it, I'll read you the Buddha's 4 immeasurable truths. They're very short, don't worry. Okay, so here we go. So we're going to close our eyes, get comfortable, close your eyes or don't, or just focus for a moment. And you're going to breathe in suffering and breathe out compassion in this practice of Tonglen this morning. Here's the special Tonglen music. May all beings be free from suffering and the root of suffering. May all beings know happiness and the root of happiness. May all beings live in sympathetic joy, rejoicing in the happiness of others. May all beings live in equanimity, free from passion, aggression, and delusion. You can open your eyes. Okay. So I hope that's a practice you can take with you and benefits you in your day-to-day. Yeah. Okay. Anybody, anything you'd like to share before we wrap up here? No? Okay. I'm going to wrap up with a poem by Rumi. He said, this being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house, empty of its furniture still. Treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet all of them at the door, laughing, and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Thank you very much for being with us today, and I hope you had a good moment here and maybe learned a couple things you can take with you. And thank you for participating in our homecoming events.